everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing, I put the title as 2018 Books in Review, and that's just like the books and stuff that I read in 2018, favorites, least favorites, DNFs, blah blah blah. Anyway, we're gonna hurry this up. So for 2018, I set my Goodreads goal at 75, and the amount of books that I actually read was 112, which pretty damn proud of myself, not gonna lie. I think it's a little bit higher than that, honestly, because in December I was doing a bunch of rereads of like urban fantasies, so I think it's under 117, but we're just gonna whatever, because I already wrote everything down. I don't want to go through it all. Anyway, so I read 26 5-star books, 3 4.5-star books. I read 40 4-star books, 8 3.5-star books, 19 3-star books, 7 2-star books, 1 1.5-star book, 1 1-star book, and I had 7 DNFs. So for a total of 112. Going off of that, obviously I had 26 5-star books, and even like the 4.5-star books are, you know, they were really good. So my favorite, absolute favorite, not counting any reread books, of 2018, the first one was going to be The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I absolutely loved that book. It was so short, but it was so atmospheric, and oh my god, I'm gonna get super pale, shiny pale. I'm gonna like sparkle. And it was a beautiful book, and just very kind of, I don't know, it didn't really give me witchy vibes, but it kind of did, if that makes sense. It was just a really beautiful book, and I enjoyed every minute of it. The second book that I just absolutely loved and it blew me away is A Million Junes by Emily Henry. This is kind of sort of like a Romeo and Juliet with a very spooky twist, and you know, there's a lot of darkness and sadness, and you know how to cope with the loss of a loved one. And I read this book when my father-in-law, when he was in the he had stage 4 lung cancer, and you know, he was in the hospital, and you know, it wasn't good. It wasn't a good time when I read this book, but I did read it at a good time, if that makes sense, and I believe it really helped process my feelings. It like helped me process my feelings and everything, and it blew me away. I still catch myself thinking of certain parts in the book, and it was just overall a very lovely book. The third book I want to mention is Morningstar by Pierce Brown. This is the third book in the Red Rising saga, as it's now called. I did not know that when I was reading it that Iron Gold and Dark Age were really a thing, so I was calling it a trilogy. But Morningstar, to me, was a beautiful conclusion to the trilogy. What was the trilogy at that time? In my head, at least. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, that whole trilogy, to be honest, it was so dense, but it was so freaking good. Like, I loved how brutal and just action-packed, and just sometimes just what the fuck is going on. And I loved that, all 3 books, okay? I loved all 3 of them, but most specifically Morningstar, I felt like it kind of wrapped things up a little bit. I wasn't 100,000,000,000% sure, or not sure, satisfied with like a teeny little bitty part with one of the characters. I felt like the character, like, it kind of not in sync with how the character was, but that's just a me thing. It's not like nothing against the book or nothing like that. I will forever be Red Rising trash. I will forever be like Severo trash, so don't at me. Next is Strange the Dreamer. So I read Strange the Dreamer January 2018, and I absolutely love this book. A freaking book nerd, okay, an introverted book nerd goes on a freaking quest, or not quest, journey to like find this city that, you know, by means of magic, people like forget the name of the city, so it just goes by Weep. And, you know, Laini Taylor made up her own fucking mythology, a beautiful mythology for this world, and I freaking loved it. Was it perfect? No. Like, there were some, you know, sometimes it got bogged down, a little bit of slow, a little bit of you know, but it was still a very, very beautiful book, and I felt that being the first Laini Taylor book that I had read, that she put a lot of work into it. Like, that's how I felt. And it's totally okay if you don't agree with any of my opinions on any of these books. It's totally okay. But that's just how I feel. I absolutely loved that book. I don't know why I'm taking my time reading Muse of Nightmares. I think because it's only going to be a duology. I think I might have heard someone say a trilogy, but dummy, don't quote me on that. Oh my god, I cannot believe I forgot. The whole entire Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassin, and Assassin's Quest. All three of those books were 5-star reads for me. I fucking loved them. Fitz and Night Eyes and Burke and What's-Her-Face and Lady Patience and just... oh my god. I can't. Just thinking about those books gets me, oh my god. Like, there was so much going on in these books, and they were so sad, and so beautiful, and so well fucking written, and it just pulls you into this world, and makes you want to, like, just grab onto every tiny little ounce of hope you can find, and just go along with the ride and hope. I'm sorry, it's a little bit out there, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful trilogy, and I freaking loved it so much, and I need to stop because I'm gonna cry. But yes, I absolutely loved that trilogy. Okay, the very last book that I want to talk about is a book that I have tried 4 times to film a review for, and I end up a blubbering mess, and I can't, like, thinking about it is, like, kind of getting me. So we're gonna see how this goes. Okay, that is Malice by John Gwynne. This is the only book out of these past few that I've been talking about that I haven't rated a 5-star. Fucking close. Very, very close. Yes, but not quite. So I am very much a character-driven reader. Malice, as far as that, like, checked every single box for me. One of the family relationships in this book tore my freaking heart apart. I'm not gonna say nobody's names or nothing, but it tore my heart apart. I could feel the love and support this family had for each other from the very beginning, as soon as they were introduced. Okay, as soon as, like, I realized, like, hey, this is a family, this is a group, you know, I felt the love and support throughout the entire book, like the rest of the amount of time that they were in the book. And that's not a spoiler or anything. I'm just, there's a lot going on in Malice. There was also another family relationship that was very heartbreaking and sad, and I fucking felt that too. Okay, there were some characters that were, like, you know, their inner monologues and, like, the reasoning behind what they were doing. Maybe it wasn't fully complete and, you know, fully fleshed out, but, you know, the bits and pieces that we were giving felt so real. They jumped out of the page for me, and I absolutely fell in love with even the villains in this book. And I still have 3 more books to go. It tore my heart apart, but it made me love, it made me feel anger and sadness, and I absolutely loved Malice. I'd have to say Malice was, crap, I can't see this. I'm very hesitant to say this is my favorite book, my absolute fucking favorite book, but it probably is. I think it is pretty much number 1. Oh my god, I'm starting to remember all the feelings I had for all these books now. I I kind of just like came up with these questions. I'm not sure if anyone like has made a tag with these exact same questions in them, and if they did, please let me know so I can check myself. So I'm not going to go into least favorite reads because this is so far it's already over 16 minutes. So one of the questions that I wrote down was, did you learn anything new about yourself as a reader? And I did. So I kind of branched out just a tiny little bit, branched out of my comfort zone, which is romance, historical, urban, and paranormal, and kind of fantasy. I would have to say that I was more of a romance reader than I am a fantasy reader, but it kind of switched. I started reading more fantasy this year. I read just a little bit of contemporary, a couple of books that were like a thriller, maybe suspense, just a few books that I wasn't really sure about. I wasn't really 100% confident that, you know, oh yeah, I would love this book, you know. Anyway, but yeah, so it felt good to climb out from under my rock a little bit. 2019, I am stepping it up a little bit, and I'm looking forward to seeing how much of a better reader I can be, trying to like break out, you know, and just read more diversely, read more books written, you know, by indie authors or published by, you know, an indie press, or, you know, books written or about, you know, people of color, people with, you know, different disabilities. And just, you know, I'm very thankful for BookTube because it has allowed me to really expand my knowledge of the book world. You know, there's a lot more out there than what I thought there was, and for that I will always be grateful. And one last question that doesn't necessarily pertain to books is, is there any advice you would give your past self and Is there any advice you would give your past self and also hope that future you remembers? That's kind of a blah, blah, blah. So I wrote down that not to feel that I have to impress anyone with how many books I can read, or, you know, it doesn't matter. As long as I'm reading and having fun and not being a shitty little asshole, right? Right? Don't be afraid to be you, which I hold so much of myself back in these videos. This video and the other video that I filmed, I've let myself come out just a little bit more. I'm kind of weird. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm a little bit weird. I'm a little bit scattered. Maybe y'all have noticed. I don't know. I think I'm kind of funny. But, I mean, anyway, there's no way I can make everyone happy. Regardless of, you know, what I do, what I look like, what I say, how I act, who I am, period. I am not going to make everyone happy. Just do that and move on with your life. That's it. That's it. Actually, there are other questions that I never filled out, and they would take a little bit of work on my part, and I'm kind of lazy. I'm going to skip them. Oh, actually, least favorite book, the very, very, very least favorite book I had of 2018 was You by Caroline Kepnes. I fucking hated that book. Joe was a dum-dum. Beck was a dum-dum. What's-her-face was a dum-dum. Everyone is dumb, okay? I get that that book was about holding people up on, you know, pedestals, and what happens when a psychopath, sociopath, serial killer person, you know, finds out that that person that they put on a pedestal doesn't actually belong up there. You know, the fallout from that. And, like, I get it, okay? I get what the book was supposed to be about. I get what the TV show is supposed to be about. But they're both shitty. It's dumb. That is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around throughout all of 2018. Just some ups and downs. Hopefully 2019 we'll see, you know, a little bit of a change. I'm trying. And I hope that you notice that I'm trying, because I am. Anyway, here's to another wonderful year. Thank you guys so very, very much for sticking around and watching. And I love each and every one of you. And I will see you later.